guys, it's Mrs. Millison. All right, we're going to go over the Check Your Understanding on page 18. It used the same superpower information from the previous Check Your Understanding. So again, we have a two-way table, which I've copied onto my paper. But this time we're asked to find the conditional distributions of superpower preference among students from the United Kingdom and United States. So I want conditional distributions among the kids in the different countries. So countries are going to be my totals for my conditional distribution. All right, let's look at the data and I'll talk about conditional. Okay, so here's my table. I always do my totals. These are my totals of all the UK students, all the US students, and these are the total students. And of course, these are all the kids that like flying or chose flying as their superpower, freeze time, and so forth. So in the last Check Your Understanding, we did marginal distributions, where we did the margin totals over the table total, okay? Margin totals over the table total. Well, now we're going to do conditional, and we have to do conditional distributions of superpower preference among students. So these are going to be my denominators. Okay, so we're gonna, okay, so for the U.S., I'm going to do on every other line. I have flying, oh, I didn't write U.S., U.K., freeze, invisibility, super strength, and telepathy. Stop doing that. Okay, so since it's among the students in the different countries, all of these proportions will have the same denominator out of the 200 UK students. Okay, oops. So of those 200 students, 54 like want to fly, want to be able to fly, 52 want to be able to freeze time, and so forth. So these will break up into the percentages of the UK students that want to do each superpower. And we'll do the same thing for the US, but then we're going to do proportions of the US students. So these will all have 215 as the denominator. David, stop doing that.
I'm zooming in, make sure they can see it.
Okay. And then again, come up so you can see this too. Okay, so I'm going to put these totals. So 45, 44. Okay, so these are all going to give me the proportions of the U.S. students that like each superpower. Now, I'm not going to put them in the calculator. I've already done it. You're quite capable of checking these proportions, making sure we agree. Okay, so this is 27%. This is 26%, 15, 10, and 22%. Those were nice even percents. Now this, we got a round, so 20.9%, 20.5%, 17.2, 10.7, and 30.7. Okay, so since these were all of the UK students, all these should add up to be 100%, and they do. And these were all percentages of the U.S. students, so these also add up to be 100%. So if you look at this, you think of it, all right, 20% of the U.S. students want to be able to freeze time, where 10% of the U.K. students want to have super strength, okay? So those are conditional distributions. So again, the difference is conditional will have one of the other, will have a marginal total as a denominator, where marginal distributions have the table total as the denominator, which is what we did in the last Check Your Understanding. Okay, the next question says to make an appropriate graph to compare conditional distributions. The best type of graph to do conditional distributions is a segmented bar graph. That way we have a whole bar for UK and a whole bar for US, and we break them into segments per superpower. Okay, let me get another piece of paper because I'm going to run out of room. Okay, so can you see both?
No.
All right, let's see. This is going to be 190, 10. Okay, so these are going to be my percentages. And then down here, I'm just going to have UK and US. Okay, you with me? Let me bring it over a little bit closer here. We'll do the UK first. Basically, I'm going to have two bars because all of those percentages added up are going to be 100%. Sorry, my lines aren't very pretty, but don't Don't spin too much, David, because I want them to be...
Who's giving me a crappy?
All right, whatever. Come over here. Okay, so I need to break this 100% UK student bar up into these segments, okay? Well, now, as I do it, I've got to have a key because they're not all going to be the same. I can't just do boxes, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put my key over here. So what do I have, 5? Okay, so I'm going to put telepathy on the bottom, super strength, and I'm totally abbreviating. Invisibility, freeze, time, and flying. Okay, so telepathy will do, you know, horizontal lines. Super strength will do vertical lines. Invisibility will do dots. Freeze will do squigglies, and then fly will leave blank. Okay, I always start from the bottom. So for the UK, let me get rid of my little things here. So for the UK, we need 22% telepathy. So it's easy from the bottom. Come up to 22%, about. So there's telepathy. Now I got to go up another 10%. So of course, adding 10 to 22, I get 32. So that will be my super strength. Add 22, 10, and 15. So what is that? 20, 30, 47. So about right here. And invisibility, I said do dots. Oh, oops, a dot went into my thing. Now, when you get to the last two, I start from the top. So I need 27% from the top for fly. So 10, 20, you know, like right around there. And fly is going to be an open box. So then this should be the remaining 26%. And it looks about right. Freeze is going to be a squiggly. Okay? Now we'll do the same thing for the US students and do them in the same order. So telepathy, can you see all this stuff over here too?
Yes.
Okay, well, can you see that too? Okay. Telepathy is 30.
Telepathy.
Oh, just be quiet. Okay, there's my telepathy. All right, what is that? 40.
Say it's like 41.
Yeah. So we'll go up to about here, and this is super strength. Add all these up, 30, 40, 50, 57, 58, 59-ish. We'll go up to here. And what was that? Dots for invisibility. And again, I'm going to start from the top. So about 21-ish, 10, 20, a little past 20. And then this should be the remaining 20 and a half for my freeze. And it is. And it looks like 20. Okay. So here's a segmented bar graph. Zoom out so you can see. I want to be able to see from here to here. Not too far out. Okay. So this is a segmented bar graph that represents this information. Okay. So we can see our 100% for the UK, 100% for the US. 100% for the UK, 100% for the US. Oh, I need to label this. Country. Okay, and then here's my superpowers. Okay. The last question says, is there an association between country of origin and superpower preference? Well, looking at the distributions, looking at the bar graphs, they're not exactly the same. They look close. You know, that doesn't look that far off. That looks a little different. Those look about the same. That is a little far off. So when the distributions are different, and we can look at our numbers, these are a little different, these are a little different, these are getting closer, these are practically the same, and those are different. So if you have enough that are different, that means there is a level of dependency, which means there is an association between the two variables. There is an association between country of origin and superpower preference. So this was number 2. So let's say there is an association between country of origin and superpower preference. Okay? And the reason I know that is because the distributions are different. The distributions are different. Okay, and we'll go into this more at the end of the year when we do significance tests, when we do chi-square significance tests. We'll have the be-all end-all test to decide if there really is an association or not. But for now, we think there is. So the distributions are different, so there is an association. So now let's say something about the data. So I'm going to say something like, let's see, both countries have practically equal preference come over here. For super strength, okay, but kids in the U.S. prefer telepathy more than in the U.K. So kids in the U.S. Oh, I spelled prefer wrong. Prefer telepathy more than kids in the UK. And then I'm going to say, over here, kids in the UK prefer flying and freeze time more than kids in the US. I keep spelling prefer wrong. For flying and freezing time more than kids in the US. Okay, so there does seem to be a relationship between their country and what superpower they like. If there was no relationship, all of these, come up here, all of these proportions would be exactly the same. So it wouldn't matter what country they were from. There would be an equal amount of kids that wanted telepathy, an equal amount, well, that is equal, an equal amount of, equal proportion of kids that liked invisibility and things like that. So the fact that they're different does lend to the fact that there is an association. So of course, come back over to the paragraph. After I make that statement, say something about the data. The key to statistics is to answer your question in the context of the data. Don't just say there is an association. You got to talk about what you're talking about. We're going to talk about country of origin. We're going to talk about superpower preference. Okay. I think that's it for that one. So I'll see you at the next Check Your Understanding. Bye.